I think that it's very important to stick to the rules of the world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things that can happen and there's certain things that can't, because, and again, that's another way of keeping to the story, because as soon as you start allowing, like, breaking the rules that Damien and Martin have set up with Sanctuary, you'll go off the rails inevitably and start losing the audience. So it's all about going, okay, well, that's a great idea, but it doesn't really fit into the structure that we've set up. And I think the most important thing is to stick to that structure.
Because when you're at the beginning too, it's easy to make that really big mistake of giving yourself a weapon that, or a superpower or something like that is going to come back and bite you in the ass. And you do it in order to make something happen in the show.
You said that.
And you do it to make you do it to make something happen in a thing. To save yourself from a weird Deus Ex Machina or something like that. And then you just go, oh, why did we do that? Because now we're locked into that in our world. So we're being very careful about not giving ourselves things that are going to come back and bite us in the ass.
Speaking of being bitten in the ass, then what do you foresee sort of the bigger challenges that are coming for the writing process now that you have tentatively 13 episodes to magically whip out of nowhere?
We have 13. We know what we're doing for 13. We know where we're going with 13 episodes. We have also tried to figure out, we already have some ideas for a second season. And we know ultimately where season 1 is going to end. How we're going to get there will change as we start, as we get further into the script. Having 6 of them sort of figured out already, figured out to the point where the story is there for 6 of them, and we know what the story is for the other 7. We're well on our way to sort of having season 1 fleshed out completely. We're actually starting to talk about season 2, which will be a reality.
Not a reality show. A reality.
Yeah.
In the writer's room with Sanctuary.
True. It's like I said, the whole process that happens in here is different than the process in some writers' room, where interestingly enough, Robin is a focusing force. The script we're working on right now is his script, where he's writing the script, and as we go off on these wild tangents, Robin sort of brings us back and says, okay, so ultimately what are we going to do with this? Because he's going to have to write it.
Yeah.
The same thing that happened with Mother of the Year, is that I'm sitting there going, okay guys, we got to focus, because I was the one that was actually trying to figure the part of the story out, and the next one we go into is one of Chase, and Chase one will be, okay, wait, don't go way over there.
Yeah, bring it back, yeah.
So it's whoever's writing the script is actually sitting there going, let's just bring this back to reality for a second. I have a mountain of work ahead of me.
Well, what change do you foresee then with the content, in consideration of the fact that what everyone knows as being Sanctuary so far was only described by it was Damien's original work, whereas now we've got you in there, we've got you in there,
right.
We've got Shay in there, we've got midgets under the table that might actually be writing a script.
The Sanctuary itself, the original, Damien created Sanctuary. Everything funnels through his brain. No matter who's writing it, everything will funnel through Damien's brain. Anyway, what ultimately happens with every script here is it has to go through Damien's head. And it's a huge amount of work. It's a massive amount of work. He actually will need to sit like Jabba the Hutt at some point. And just have,
And he'll look like that.
he will. Great some and it just comes out, this guy is a really good thing.
And Martin you'll be like the guy on the chain
No, I'm going to be the one like, hey, a Jedi, what do you know?
But the great thing about this room, and I think it definitely comes from the top. It comes from Damien and Martin, and it's congruent to all the great things about working on Sanctuary. Is the environment is conducive to creativity. You walk into this room, there's no stupid ideas. We're all just kind of throwing stuff out, eventually something goes, hey, maybe that's pretty good, and then we run with that, and that's the only, that's the only way to be able to create a show like this, and is to make it fun and to make it relaxed and have let your guard down completely, because once you create an environment that's kind of like, well, people aren't sure what to say and I don't want to sound stupid, then everyone tenses up and the true creativity doesn't flow.
Nobody gets shut down here for any reason. Even if somebody starts to pitch something and goes against all the rules we've sort of tentatively set up, you still let them go with it. And I think everybody is very respectful of letting people talk their ideas through, because somewhere in there, often there's a kernel of something that will be used as ultimately as the story idea. So,
and everything is worth exploring, right?
Yeah.
And every idea is worth fleshing out.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's fun.
Are we having fun yet?
We had fun before we had fun on the street walking in.
Yeah.
We had fun driving in and thinking, hey, this is gonna be fun. I actually got up this morning, first thing I had a banana, and I thought, this is gonna be fun today while I was peeling the banana. It was that far back that I had.
I like your mind still, like a good mind.
Yeah, so I had a banana. Right?
Banana!
I started peeling this banana. And,
But that's the thing, is, you know what, this is the greatest job in the world. I mean, it really just is, and it just feels really great to have the most fun, awesome job in the world.
you don't think it would be better to be an astronaut?
I don't think so.
How about astronauts writing a TV show in space? Okay. This is the second best job in the world.